All right, we are live again for day number 2. I'm so excited to get this kicked off. I'm going to go live now on Binance as well, so everybody can follow us over there. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. How you feeling, Trip?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, Megan. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I mean, I'm just so excited for everything that's happening. And it feels like we almost predicted the future yesterday, but that's trading probabilities, possibilities. We were saying that Bitcoin looked like it was on the verge of breaking out. And in fact, it's doing just that, it seems.
Right. Yeah. The 4-hour 200 MA seemed to be a key level to hold. So that was our big bounce that we saw yesterday.
Right. So I'm just getting this live started over here for the people on Binance. We might start live trading on Binance soon. So let us know what you think about that in the comments if you want to see us live trade. That's something that's been in the works. We're always looking to up our game here at the Capital Mindset. Also, for my audience, we're super excited to be here. So it looks like we're live on all channels now. I'm going to get this kicked off. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning into these. Like, you give me life, you give me energy. I'm really enjoying this live kind of setup where we all get to talk to each other, interact, and just do this in real time. Like I said yesterday, Trip and I have calls. Trip is the lead analyst from the Capital Mindset Trading Group, and he's just so talented. And we have these calls about what's happening in the market, and we're kind of just deciding to, let you guys in on these calls basically in real time as we're discussing them. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to get started with some news while we're letting people join before we get into the trading segment and the chart segment. But today is going to blow your mind. I mean, there are several charts, and Trip has several ways of analyzing the charts that not many people, if any, that I've seen talk about. And it's really cool to see the perspective. And actually, it's been following this move to the T. And that's pretty cool to see. So we're going to go over that chart today, whether or not this breakout is real for Bitcoin and what's coming. And it's really going to surprise a lot of people. So stay tuned for that because that's super exciting. We've also got 3 altcoins we're going to go over. We've got Cardano, Sui, and XRP, I believe, and maybe some of the ones that we're going to chart for our VIP members, as well as some of you in the audience. So if you are just joining, thanks for tuning in. We're doing a summer sale on the trading group, 20% off until July 11th. Trip, was that the date?
Yeah, that's right. July 11th.
Okay, perfect. So that's going on now, guys. Do take advantage of that. This can change your life forever. And I'm telling you, we're on the precipice of something huge. And everybody who's applying themselves now, who's learning these skills now, you're going to thank yourself later. Actually, I think it was somebody who was leaving for work yesterday on the live that said, wish me luck. Well, you are all creating your own luck by being here, by paying attention to these streams, listening to people like Trip who are just really good at what they do. And we're really passionate about this. So let's jump right into the news. First up, this is absolutely massive, okay? I'm going to share my screen just for a second so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Just 1 minute here as I get my screen up there. There we go. Cool. So I'm just going to turn this off here because you hear Binance Live going on. Okay, guys. So I think you can see my screen okay. I'm going to start with this. This is massive. All right. The U.S. Director of Digital Assets, Bo Hines, who will be on my podcast, by the way. We met at Consensus in Toronto where I just interviewed Kevin O'Leary. That one is out now. And he actually shouted out HBAR as his most undervalued project. So that's super cool. The Hedera people are really happy about that. I hold a lot of HBAR. I think it'll do very well this cycle. This is the flight to quality cycle for altcoins, I believe. And HBAR is one of those, as well as the ones that we're going to discuss on the stream today. But man, just getting right to it. He says that the U.S. wants to buy as much Bitcoin as they can possibly accumulate. Do you understand the magnitude of what that means? I mean, just this headline alone tells me, how can you possibly be bearish on the future of this asset when we're getting headlines like this? I mean, this is just so big, right? So that just came in, and I wanted to highlight that for you guys. Also, we've got the big, beautiful bill. I know a lot of people are talking about Trump's new bill. This is actually a poll from Fox News that shows that more people oppose it than favor it. It's one of the reasons why Elon Musk and Trump are kind of in a feud, because Trump through this bill is going to raise the debt ceiling quite a bit. Potentially, I believe it was like by 5 trillion that it could be raised. And you know what this all leads to, right? Like this all leads to more money printing, more liquidity coming into the system. And for those of you who are upset or frustrated about alts not moving, I'm telling you, this is all we need is a liquidity injection. And we are going to get just a massive move in the space in general because we've already hit that inflection point. And I just see what's coming. We went over total 3 yesterday. It's looking very bullish. And that's the chart that's all altcoins minus Ethereum and Bitcoin. So that's looking really good. And I just wanted to highlight a little bit more about this big, beautiful bill. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. There's a lot of controversy going on about it. But here's a statement from Trump that says largest tax cuts in history in a booming economy versus biggest tax increase in history in a failed economy. What are the Republicans waiting for? So it's kind of this clash even within the party itself. And people have got some problems here. It says America will see a $4 trillion tax increase. And President Trump ran on tax cuts, border security, low cost, and America first. This bill delivers. So there's people in favor, there's people against, but all roads lead to one thing, and that is money printing. So that's just what I wanted to point out. I mean, we could get more into depth in, what this bill actually means because there's a lot of controversy around it. We'll do that on another stream. I just wanted to highlight that that's kind of like what's happening now that's most important on the table for Trump. And and he's very frustrated with Jerome Powell. He definitely wants to replace the head of the Federal Reserve. So we've got that happening as well. There's a lot going on. Bottom line, Trump cares a lot about the markets and about the state of the economy. And if you listen to my interview with Kevin O'Leary, we kind of go over, is it actually good what he's doing with the tariffs? Where is this leading us? What is going to happen? And it's actually a pretty bullish outlook from what I can determine and the people that I've interviewed and spoken to. Watchman, there you are. Good morning. Good morning. We're so excited to be here. I love our community. It's super fun. And today, I don't know, for all of you who just tuned in, we're going to go over some really, really crazy charts that looks like in hindsight, they predicted this move that Tripp has and he's been working on. And it's a very special thing because it's things that not other traders or analysts talk about and gives you a bigger, broader perspective on where this is going. So I'm really excited for it. Tripp, I think we're just about ready to get rolling with the analysis. But first up, guys, we have been nailing it in the trading group. All of the top gainers, including stocks. Wow. I mean, it's pretty incredible how much a stock can move in a short time because they're picking out the best setups that there are. Tripp, like, let us know, what have we been looking at in the group and how have we been doing?
Yeah, we had a couple of really good stock setups, and these were kind of crypto related too. So you had Robinhood. I think they had some news come out recently. I forget exactly what it was about, but again, it's just it's a relationship to crypto is what it was boosted on. And then we had Coinbase stock setup as well. So obviously directly related to crypto. So for the hood setup we had, this was posted back in, I think this was early March. So it was a break above this resistance, and that was our first entry back here. And then we had another setup with the adjusted risk. So it was another break above the next resistance level, and that became our second entry. So in total, it was a 97.5% profit for hood so far, and it hit all of our targets that we were looking for.
97%. That's a stock, not a crypto, guys. This is a crypto stock. I mean, crypto related, right? Robinhood actually just had an acquisition, just acquired WonderFi, which we also discussed on the podcast with Kevin O'Leary for $180 million. So that is the infrastructure that he speaks about that people are just bullish on, is how to get into this system. And Robinhood is at the forefront of that. So that's pretty cool to see. And so let's go back on that Robinhood setup here.
Sure.
And how long did it take for this move to play out?
We can take a quick measurement. I think it was about a month in total. So from our first entry back here to the top where we are now, it was about 55 days. So almost 2 months, actually.
Oh, but that is wild to have a stock move almost 100% that we call out in the group in 2 months. I mean, that is crazy gains for a stock. I know a lot of you have been requesting that we do stock trading, and we do have a stocks channel, an investments channel. So we wanted to show some of that here today, so just so you can see that we do a variety of things. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely one of our best winners so far in the stocks group. It's still fairly new, so the bar is being set, I guess you could say, currently. The next one we have that we've been watching, this is Coinbase stock. We had another setup earlier, but this was the most recent setup. So again, same thing, same rules that we use for crypto, right? Really is all we're applying. So a break above the 1-day 200 SMA, that seemed to be a good entry. It also lined up very well with this upper trend line here. So we're looking for a 53% move just to this top resistance. And if we go to the live chart, you can see that after it broke this yellow trend line, we had an easily up to 50% up to here, 76% in total, and it actually broke above this main resistance level. So now we're looking for a retest of this support, and then we're hoping that we can get up to these higher targets. Maybe this is a cup and handle kind of idea, or maybe an inverse head and shoulders. Doesn't really matter what you want to call it, but this key resistance level is breaking. So the measured move, yeah, that's at about $650 for the Coinbase stock.
Which is pretty wild. And that kind of is indicative as to where we're at, in my opinion. I mean, we use Coinbase stock and some other indicators, such as how high up in the app store is Coinbase, things like that to determine where we're at in the cycle. And if we could still potentially hit 650 from the level we're at now, and it's looking this bullish, I mean, that just tells me that we haven't even really, dug deep into the last part of this cycle. So that's exciting.
Yeah, definitely very exciting. The next thing we're going to look at is the Bitcoin chart. This is a Bitcoin versus the global liquidity chart, actually. I think you were mentioning earlier about the injection of money coming into the market. So this chart actually gives you a very graphical depiction of what that could look like. I think you mentioned earlier, too, it's about 60 days ahead of the Bitcoin price for global liquidity. So really what you're watching for is like a leading indicator type of a move. So if it starts trending higher, then you can expect Bitcoin should be following in that uptrend. So right now you can see we've broken above this yellow trend line, just like we did back here on the previous cycle. Mind you, we did have a COVID dip, so that kind of changed the rules of the game at the time, but either way, it's still the same structure. It's a break above the trend line. We're going to see what happens here. So far, it looks good.
I love this way of analysis too, and looking back at what happened last time in similar structures, right? And that's kind of going to be a theme on today's stream, just to get you to open your mind a little bit as to how much gas in the tank we may have left. And obviously, like Bitcoin is lagging global liquidity, I think by about 60 to 100 days. So there's a lot of leading indicators that show that we have some room left in the tank to have a nice run. So this is just the
De-
beginning.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Usually Bitcoin has a parabolic run where it's going up weekly, 10, 20%, nonstop, it seems, for a while. We haven't really gone through that phase yet. So I definitely do expect a stronger parabolic move as maybe the end of this cycle kind of a move. Maybe it's a lead into something bigger, but I still don't think we've seen the real maximum of what Bitcoin can do yet.
No, I definitely don't think so. Welcome to everybody who's just joining the stream. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in sunny southern Spain, and it's a great day to do some Bitcoin analysis. And we're just about to get into the most explosive chart. So buckle up. If you're headed to work, just dial in, focus on what's at hand, because you have a massive opportunity right now that, may not come again to this magnitude. So yep, nice to have you guys here, and let's continue with analysis.
Sure thing. Yeah, we're going to look at the. This is a comparison we had from a while ago. We're doing an update on it, I guess you could say. This is the 2014 to 2017 log scale chart on the left, and you can see we had a parallel channel to the upside, and it's very similar to the channel that we're in now on the current Bitcoin 3-day log scale chart. So I think now potentially, since we've tested this bottom trend line a few times, we could go for the final move, or maybe not the final move, but the first time that we've seen this upper trend line in a while at the very least. So same thing as back here where you can see this green circle. The best bullish idea I can imagine is a break above this, and that's when you start going into the crazy price action for Bitcoin.
Right. And, this chart on the left here, if it's any indicator as to what's going to happen, I mean, it pretty much took off from where we're at now and didn't take a breather. So a lot of people want to know, Trip, is this a buy the breakout scenario, or is it a fake out? A lot of people have like PTSD from this cycle, I feel, and they think that everything is a trick, that anytime now we're going to be going all the way down. And what are you seeing there?
Well, this is a 2-hour chart that we've had in the group. So this is a long setup that we're currently watching. We were looking for that bounce on the 4-hour 200 MA, and that's this yellow line going across the screen here. So once we put in that higher low after this lower low, we're really expecting for more upside continuation or the trend to start reversing from here. We've already seen the breakout of the resistance of the pattern itself, but we're kind of stuck below this gray resistance zone first before we can see any more upside. So this is definitely the level we need to see break next, and that's at about 110,000 for Bitcoin.
Right. And so if we are bullish, what do we want to see from here? Is there a certain time range where you would say if we don't break above this resistance level by this time frame, then it's most likely we're going to, revisit lower levels? Or how are you kind of taking this? What is your strategy here?
Really, it's just about holding this support level. You don't want to see a bull trap in this area. So if that happens, then I definitely would expect the trend to come down and maybe we consolidate for a little bit longer. Maybe there's a bigger structure being built that we can't quite see it. But
Right.
really, it's the line in the sand is probably 108,000.9. That's the
Mhm.
support we want to see hold just to prevent any trap ideas. Otherwise, you're just looking for a break above this resistance at 110. So it's a very tight little range that we're moving in. So for now, I don't really have a timeline. It's possible we could range sideways for a little bit before it decides to choose a direction. So it's really hard to gauge how much time that could be.
Right. And I know people are starting to learn how to trade in this channel as well as avid traders. I mean, we got all levels in our group, and they want to know the strategy for when something is retesting. What sort of a time frame do you look at where you decide, okay, this is a successful retest, or what would be like the minimum? People want to know just how do you gauge that when you're looking to get into a trade?
It depends on the time frame that you're trading on. So if you're on a high time frame chart like a 1 day and you're drawing patterns on a 1 day chart, then you're going to want to zoom into the 4 hour and then the 2 hour and then the 1 hour. Really, you're just trying to establish a bullish reversal as you go down into the time frames. So if you see on the 1 hour that you've pulled back a bit and it's forming a bit of a wedge on your 1 day chart pattern, then that's an idea that you can watch for a breakout of the smaller wedge on that 1 hour chart, for an example. Or you can
Right.
use the RSI and look for everything to go down to oversold levels. Maybe that'll be on the 5 minute to the 15 to the 30 minute, maybe up to the 2 hour to the 4 hour. It really depends how big your structure is that you're trying to trade. But usually, if you're going to look for a retest entry, you want to look for oversold indicators at least on the lower end of those time frames, just to give you a better buying opportunity. If I'm looking at the chart and I see Bitcoin or the whatever the asset is, if it's overbought on the 15 minute, 30 minute, and 1 hour, and I'm still looking for a retest while that's happening, I'm probably going to scale in at the very least, or wait for it to pull back and let those indicators cool off a little bit.
Right. Okay. No, interesting. I mean, I know that that's on a lot of people's minds, so I just wanted to run that by you. This is also to help you guys with strategy. So, you have any questions, any concerns, anything you want to address? Now is the time to ask. And also, fun fact: don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking Bitcoin is actually closer to 1 million than it is 10,000, and that's a really crazy thought to think. Like, as soon as we cross these psychological barriers, like 100K, us just holding above 100K is massive. There is no doubt in my mind that this is a very bullish asset. I don't know how else to describe that, but we're going to get into potentially some, cycle numbers and beyond today. But just know that like you're at the beginning of something really big, and it's a very exciting time.
Right. Yeah. So back to this chart that we're looking at. Oh, sorry, we haven't looked at it quite yet. Oh yeah, right. So the log scale comparison, we're looking for a structure that can continue this size of the move, right? So a lot of what I do in the trading group, over time, you start noticing these your patterns. They seem to have a symmetry to them. So I've been catching on to this idea for at least the past 5 years is when I first discovered this concept. So there is always this line of symmetry represented by this vertical line on the chart. And that's usually where the chart starts to mirror itself. So the swings on the left look like the swings on the right. And you kind of get somewhat of a guide. You might not get the exact same swing up or the same swing down to the same magnitude of a move, but really it's just about, is the trend going higher overall? So the next chart we're going to look at is an updated version of this chart just to see what has happened since. So we noticed this early on when it was making this first dip and we were expecting the bounce. So due to this knowledge, we had a bit of an edge saying, well, it could continue higher and it may follow this trend overall because it happens so often that it's hard for me to ignore it. So now I'm starting to apply it. And again, it's not like I'm trading these swings verbatim, right? Not exactly trying to sell this swing to catch the bottom of the next one. If you try to do that, you're going to miss a bunch of the move. It's going to try to fake you out. So really, it's just an overall guide to show us whereabouts you are in the trend.
Which is super cool, which actually has been pretty spot on since, I think you started in the past April mapping out like this.
Yeah, this one, about March is when I started this one, March into
Right.
April.
Right. And look at that confluence. I mean, this is pretty crazy. And I haven't seen anybody else looking at this in this sort of way. Now you're about to really get your mind blown by this chart. So let's dig into this. But this is something I find super exciting.
Right, this is the same chart as back here. We've just zoomed out a little bit, and that's this whole section. But just to show you an example, like we had this exact same thing, sort of idea, forming back in August of 2024. We had a line of symmetry drawn down the middle, and you can see really clearly the trend followed it very well, not perfectly, but it does give you an idea of where you could be going as long as these swings are pretty much in the same place. So since we just saw this happen in August of last year, we're starting to see the exact same predictable movements coming for Bitcoin.
I mean, this is a pretty crazy pattern. Why I say I'm excited about this one is because now we're zoomed out and we're seeing them right next to each other with this sort of mirror pattern going on. What is the measured move of this breakout?
The measured move, we can throw it on there right now, actually. I would just use a fib, pull it from the high up here down to the bottom of the pattern. So that was the chart actually we showed in the beginning. So that's about 146,000 would be the measured move.
Right.
This isn't on log scale either, so that's a pretty decent move still. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's just like not even the top side range of where it could land. There's a lot of different theories and indicators and things to show where we might top out at, but the possibilities of coming off of a move like this in a bullish atmosphere like this, where Bo Hines, is literally saying that America's trying to accumulate as much crypto as Bitcoin as possible. I mean, let's have a look at this chart. I see you went back to this, and I just want to stress this because people get upset when we talk about the top side targets and what's possible. Guys, these are just stats. This is probability statistics and measurements on charts. I mean, you can't get upset about that. These are just possibilities, whether they happen this cycle, next cycle, whenever it may be. Just get it in your mind that this is possible. We're closer to 1 million than 10,000, and that things start to get crazy when mass adoption truly sets in. We're at 3% right now on the adoption scale, the S curve, right? And I believe it's 16% before you start to hit mass adoption. We're early. And can you go back to that trip and just show us some of those levels there?
Sure. I'm just showing the comparison of where we expect this move to go. So the measured move's at 146,000 for this pattern. But at the same time, we're looking for a move to the upper trend line. So that's a much higher target. We're estimating that if it goes pretty much straight up from here, about 188,000 or so. If it takes its time, it could take a little longer. It might go a little higher, maybe closer to 200,000. So I wouldn't quote me exactly on that $180,000 figure quite yet.
Right. Yeah. But these are just, again, this is just all different indicators and confluence and charts to help us come up with an idea of what could happen. If you look at the left side, it broke out to the top side of that rising channel, which then creates an even more parabolic move, right? When it breaks out of a rising wedge to the upside.
Right. That's the parabolic move that we expect Bitcoin to do each cycle. I think every cycle has had a parabolic break of a rising channel within the structures.
All right. And so now you guys are looking at it, you can see breaking out of the top side of that. If the top side is at 180 to 200,000, I mean, that gets into the $300,000-$400,000 level. So, no telling if Bitcoin will go there this cycle or when it will go. Just know that it is a possibility and we are very bullish. And, people who stack sats and like buy Bitcoin long-term, man, you're going to be a legend, when you're older and your kids are like, man, I can't believe you got in on the Bitcoin boom, right? That's where we're at now. So very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's very
I see
exciting.
Traveler there. Traveler 88, good number. Wants to know about XRP. Well, you're in luck because we are going to be going over an XRP chart, I believe. Right, Trip?
Yes, right after this Bitcoin dominance chart, we're going to breeze through that really quick.
So stay tuned. Yeah, we've got Richard here, NYC. There is no second best. I like it. Man, what has Bitcoin done? It's just such a crazy concept, right? That I want to go back to the stat that I talked about yesterday, where it was an astounding number of years that have been inflated away by money printing, years of people's lives that they have worked, disappeared like that overnight because of inflation. And so we are at a time when it's never been easier to, in essence, build wealth or, beat this or escape this rat race, right? Is just to buy Bitcoin and hold it. So that's obviously a strategy here. But what we're teaching in our trading group is how to compound those gains. So I have one portfolio that is a set it and forget it. That's where I keep everything long term. And then I'm trading so that I can compound those gains. And we've got some of the top analysts in the space. We do have a sale going on right now, 20% off summer sale, because we want to give people an opportunity to get in at a good price, experience it, learn as much as possible. But yes, I would totally agree with you there, Richard. And thank you for joining the stream. And yeah, let's get back to it.
Perfect. So this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. I had this charted a couple of hours ago. So we were looking for a bounce on this lower support level. And now we're starting to get this bounce. So it could be invalidating this bearish scenario that we had for Bitcoin dominance. If this had broke lower, we could have seen some really nice altcoin movement. But right now, it still looks like it's trying to hold for Bitcoin or in Bitcoin's favor for the time being. So definitely have to keep an eye on Bitcoin, I think, just to see what it's going to be doing over the next, probably for the next 24 hours, just to see if it's going to be a leader and give us some altcoin plays, or if it's just going to pull back and steal some of that dominance, which just means we'll probably have to wait a little longer to trade our altcoins again.
Right. And we can be patient, right? We've made it this far, this long. And if dominance is pumping hard and we get a big Bitcoin move, we're not going to be upset about that either, right? So we may just have to wait a little bit longer until some of that money flows into the altcoins, but it is going to happen. It happens every cycle. And it's just, like I said, it's a matter of getting liquidity injected into this whole system, right? And it is coming. So all we need to do is have patience. And in the meantime, hone in on your skills, learn how to trade, and just tune into these lives every day because we love talking to you guys. So let us know where you're tuning in from, please, in the comments. I'd love to connect with everybody and know where everybody's at in the world. And, we're borderless, but it's cool that we can all be here together all over. So yeah, let's get into the altcoin charts. We're going to start with XRP. XRP is one that's been brewing for quite a while now.
Yeah, definitely. It's been consolidating for quite some time. Since the beginning of 2025, basically, we started going into this triangle that we can finally see the structure. It almost looks like it's completed itself now. We're just looking for a breakout entry above the triangle trend line, and definitely want to see a break above that 200 MA. That's this yellow line here as well. That's a little squiggly. So if you pay attention, you can set an alert on that 200 MA for the 1 day. Then you don't have to pay attention to the chart as much, but that's definitely going to be a confirmation level to pay attention to for XRP. The measured move is probably around the 1.618 level, tends to be a little shorter than going all the way to the top of the range. So we'll give it a quick measure just to see whereabouts we'll be aiming here. So maybe about the 1.272 looks like a decent measured move for XRP. But if Bitcoin takes off and XRP follows and the bull run really starts to kick in with those moves that we talked about previously, we could see as high as $5 up to the up to the 2.0 fib level for XRP.
Right. And just for you guys who are watching, this is not a cycle top prediction. This is just levels based on the previous pattern and what we can expect, right? So things do get heated. It's going to be the last sort of phase of this cycle. If we repeat the 4-year cycle, potentially into a super cycle, we will see. We're monitoring in real time. But, I kind of feel like it's like trying to chart Amazon in the beginning. Or like the ones that are going to win the race, the horses that will win the race will go through extraordinary volatility. Amazon, I looked these stats up because I wanted to tell you guys, okay, the first 10 years had wild volatility. I mean, it went down over 85 or 90% at one point when the dot-com bust came, and it recovered from there after those 10 years, became one of those horses that won the race, and then became the 4th most valuable company in the world, right? So imagine we could be at that point for a lot of these altcoins. So just have that in mind when you're, thinking about portfolio versus trading. But trading is what's going to help you compound your gains to then potentially put in your long-term bags. So yeah, I'm excited about XRP. I hold a lot of XRP, and there's a lot of news on that.
Perfect. Next one we're going to look at is ADA on the 8-hour chart. So this is another one that's got a big structure forming. We finally touched the bottom again recently on our I guess this is around June of 2025. So now that we've double bottomed down here, we're looking for a break above this trend line and above the 0.272 fib level. Then we can look at a measured move for ADA up to about $1.16, and that would be the top of this range up here that we're looking at. So that could be a short-term trade, considering there could be a much bigger structure happening here. We just have to see how that's going to go. If Bitcoin behaves, I definitely see that move to the $1 mark happening within a reasonable amount of time, maybe within a couple of months or so.
Wow, things are heating up. We're running out of time before this train leaves the station. That's all I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. So, act accordingly. Long-term bags, short-term bags, learn how to trade. Just, I can't stress it enough, especially with this kind of, mentor that like Trip. I mean, you're in very good hands. San Diego, Traveler 88. My mom lives there. I go back there all the time. I'm jealous. I love San Diego and those SoCal vibes. It's a really fun summer, especially coming into this fall when we're in like the final inning, right, for Bitcoin, and it's gonna get crazy. I do see their raw food writer looking at TFuel. I was going to suggest that before we jumped on the stream. Potentially, we'll have time to look at that at the end. But TFuel is in the Theta ecosystem, and it's a much lower cap, but it's doing a lot. And there's a lot of news on that. I'm going to make a whole video on that alone. But if we have time, maybe we'll chart that out after this. But ADA's looking phenomenal.
Next one we have here, this is SUI. So this is a very popular one. People have been waiting for this one to bottom as well. We recently had a break above this yellow trend line and above this horizontal resistance. If you wanted to, you could draw it as an ascending triangle down here that we also had. So that was a decent little pattern to buy the breakout out of. Now we're looking for a pullback to this support level if it happens. Potentially, if you miss that pullback, or if it doesn't happen, you can look for a breakout entry above this next resistance at about $3.15. Again, as long as Bitcoin behaves, I think SUI could also test the top of the range at some point. It looks like it might take a little while. This has been pretty choppy price action on the way down. We may expect something choppy to come all the way back up again. So $4.16 at the top of the range for SUI. Could happen within maybe a month or two as well, but it's a shorter term chart, only on the 2 hour, so it might not take quite as long.
Do you guys think it's funny that we're talking about like this could happen within a month or two, and they're about like some of them are 100% moves? Can you imagine making that kind of move in the stock market? Besides the stocks that you guys picked out, Coin and Robinhood, and have been monitoring in the group. I mean, these are massive moves. When I said before that there's never been an easier time to sort of build your wealth, I mean, I meant it. It's just such an opportunity at hand, and I'm so optimistic about it. I'm excited for all the charts Trip showed, especially those mirror ones. I mean, that's something that is very unique, and it's helping us get that perspective. So SUI is actually, people get upset because it's VC backed, right? That was the trend that no VCs could be in it. But I did do a podcast with the co-founder of Animoca Brands, Yatsu, and he was explaining that actually having a VC in a project long-term, although sometimes it's tumultuous short-term because they do want to dump the coin and get their profit and things like that. With the right people, it could be good because they have to answer to somebody. They have to produce. They have to build, right? So I'm pretty optimistic about where SUI's headed, and this is a great chart.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of charts like this, right? So we're going to be covering a bunch of these throughout the week. We're really just waiting to see which ones are going to be the first ones to start moving, and then we're going to see them trickle down to the next coins after that. So I think it's going to be a pretty decent week as long as Bitcoin is trending higher.
Right. So we wanted to get that Bitcoin update out to you so you could see what we're seeing. It doesn't look like, this train is stopping anytime soon, if that mirror is any indication, and a lot of the other indicators that we're looking at, including the breakout, right? That's currently in the process of retesting. So yesterday we spoke about that. Today we've broken out. That's pretty cool. And Trip, what do you say? Do we have time to have a look at TFuel?
Yeah, I can pull up TFuel right now.
Right. I know so many Theta people want to know about TFuel because potentially has the opportunity to do a much bigger run than Theta, being a smaller cap and a part of the Theta ecosystem. So yeah, and also the elite edge nodes. So the staking and all of the rewards and everything on the TFuel side of it could make this a very explosive coin if we could just get some bullish patterns going here and some bullish structure.
Right, yeah. I'm looking at it now, and it actually looks better as a support entry. So if you were trying to accumulate for long
Mm.
term, this is a pretty major support level that's been holding since this goes back to December of 2022. So you've had multiple bounces down here, and now you're currently testing it again. This is starting to look like a double bottom as well. So this could be the last time that you see TFuel testing this low, at least before we try a swing high, maybe up to this resistance at about. I'll mark it down here. We're aiming for this high at about 9.4 cents for TFuel. So definitely a pretty good little trade. I think it's going to follow Theta, obviously. But yeah, if you were thinking for a longer term move, this is where you'd want to start adding to a position if you've already got one open, or if you were buying a little higher before, and now's your chance to get in closer to the floor, just to dollar cost average that entry for you.
Wow, there you heard it. Ground level entry for TFuel and Theta. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You're saying we let the trades come to us. Buying on support is one of the best skills you will learn, and one of the things that Trip helps point out early in the group as far as patterns and things to look for and levels to watch. The support entries are always the best, obviously. So this is pretty cool if you are really into the Theta ecosystem like I am, and the Theta gang, that you get this opportunity. And if you believe in where the project's headed, yeah, it's looking like a good entry point. And we have one final question here. Do we think altcoin season is coming? I think you guys know my answer for that one. But Trip, we did look at Total 3 yesterday. And what was the synopsis there?
For total three, well, it's in a big, giant ascending triangle on the higher time frames, like the 3-day chart. So even the little short-term ranges inside of the pattern from the upside to the downside, those could be short little alt seasons when it starts trending higher. It's really hard to compare it with Bitcoin dominance now, because Bitcoin has grown so massively big, and Ethereum's now so big as well, that it's not really a true representation of what the smaller caps could do. So when you're trying to consider what an alt season is, people usually refer to the Bitcoin chart going down as being your alt season indicator. But we've seen it lately where even just the tiniest little pullbacks, altcoins get a little boost. So even if dominance is trending higher overall, like it's been going up for about 2 years straight, those little pullbacks, you have to really grab onto them. And that's the money that you get each cycle, is those little positive pumps. But as I was saying, even though it's climbing with Bitcoin, the dominance level could be going up, but the altcoins still have money going into them, just not as much as Bitcoin. So it'll
Right.
look like on the chart, like dominance is going up compared to the altcoins. Doesn't mean there's no money going into them, just means it's not as much as Bitcoin.
Right, and it's all eyes are on Bitcoin right now. I mean, you saw it. I want to go back to this tweet that the U.S. Director of Digital Assets says they want as much Bitcoin as possible in the U.S. It's the Bitcoin show right now. That's great and that's amazing, and that's just overall bullish for the space. The Ethereum ETFs are heating up. I mean, you've got Tom Lee coming out and saying he's going to make the next micro strategy for ETH. I mean, Wall Street will get yield with ETH. Ethereum is going to explode, in my opinion. I mean, that's just where all signs point to, where they lead to. I'm super bullish on that. And I don't think there's a scenario where altcoins don't follow. But I do think that this is going to be I'm going to say it again, a flight to quality scenario where we're going to have more attention on the altcoins that are actually producing, building, and going somewhere, versus just all ships sail and pump into infinity, right? I think there's going to be a little bit more of a filter, but I absolutely think we're going to get altcoin season. And again, we're waiting for that injection of liquidity. So it's not just about dominance in Bitcoin. It's also about how much liquidity is out there, how much is actually in the system. What is the Fed doing with their balance sheet? Are they lowering rates? When we get to that point, that's when we'll know. So yeah, I would say we just have to have a little patience, like Trip said earlier. And Hopium Days, let's go. I think I saw you yesterday. I like your vibe. I like your vibe a lot. Pipeline, what's up? How you doing? Joe Edwards. Oh man, you guys are just joining the party now. We're about to wrap this live stream up, but let's see if we have any other questions here. I really think there's a huge overlook of BitTensor. I actually know that team. Did a interview with them in the Louvre in Paris at Proof of Talk, a big conference here that happens in Europe. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that that's going to be one of the top, if not the blue chip, of the AI ecosystem. And we should do a show just dedicated to AI, because that's going to be big. Litecoin may be another good one. I've been looking at Litecoin a lot lately. It's been doing it tends to be one of those front runners too. You know, when Litecoin starts to pump, then it's kind of what has been in the past, kind of a signal that everything else might start getting going. So yeah, I like that comment. Be great for so yeah, I'll definitely do more on the BitTensor ecosystem. I know that a lot of people are very excited about AI, myself included. I did do one with Eliza Labs with Logan Galima, who's one of the core contributors to Eliza Labs. And man, it is astounding what is happening with AI, and crypto and AI are just the perfect combination. So yeah, definitely we'll do that. It looks like Trip has the Litecoin chart pulled up. Let's have a look here.
Yeah, just taking a little measurement here just to see what we could be looking at for Litecoin. Again, this would be necessarily the top maximum move, but if we consider this a double bottom where you have your left side bottom here, and now we're forming this other right side bottom, the measured move could be up to as high as $734 for Litecoin.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that would be massive for Litecoin. That's pretty cool. I mean, just it's like the double bottoming era. It's like the rounded bottom era. It's like the altcoins are finally starting to find their bottom after what feels like forever. And that is like a super exciting time, right? What up, A team Andrew? Let's see a new crypto channel, some support. Yeah. Oh, show a new. Yes, we appreciate all of your support. We're putting a lot of effort into this. Usually I am doing in-person conferences, anywhere from Money 2020 and Web Summit to big corporations and institutions, and just out there on the ground in the crypto sphere. I was just at Consensus and did a lot of cool interviews, including with Charles Hoskinson from Cardano. So now we're trying to, bring that to you digitally. And yeah, we appreciate all the support and good vibes. Smash the like button, says Andrew. Absolutely right. You guys help us out a lot. We really appreciate all of you being here. And thank you so much, Traveler88. And yeah, Andrew, we just actually did an XRP chart earlier, so you'll be able to see that on the stream, but very bullish on XRP. HBAR, for those of you who are just joining, they actually just did a tweet about my podcast with Kevin O'Leary because he shouted out HBAR as his #1 most undervalued crypto. And man, they're working with institutions. They're doing big things. I'm bullish on HBAR. So yeah, we need to talk to Theta and get them to do more marketing. I'm on it, actually. I've been talking to the team. Been talking to Andrea, who is the head of BD, who seems not to be working with Theta anymore. So I will get in touch directly with Mitch or with Wes, but they're going to be here in Europe. Wes is here in Europe. We must make this happen. Absolutely. Trip, do you have any kind of closing thoughts here? I mean, people are really excited to see your analysis. I know you've just been an excellent addition to these live streams to back up some of this, fundamentals with charts and with your magic. You're kind of like a sorcerer, right?
Yeah, some of this stuff may seem, it seems like magic to the uninitiated, you could say. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is, it was a new idea to start with. And then over the past 5 years, 6 years or so of using these new ideas, it seems so far-fetched. A lot of them seem to be more accurate than they are wrong. So I've just been running with it.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, we decided that instead of having these closed calls between us every morning about what's happening in the market, we wanted to open it up to you and give you that value here. We are updating our trading group 24/7, and Trip puts out all the best setups, including support entries and breakout trades as well. For people who are learning how to trade, want to compound their gains, there's a link in the description below. We're going to give you a 20% off. Up until July 11th. Don't quote me on the date. I always forget the date, but very limited time. So yeah, we're very excited to do that. Andrew, I would agree with you. HBAR is focusing on institutions. So there isn't a whole lot of retail awareness, but maybe we should change that, right? Let's talk to HBAR. Let's get something going. Bullish on Proppy. Michael, hello. I'm bullish on Proppy too. Been working with Proppy for a while, advising and just seeing what they're doing is absolutely phenomenal. I hope Proppy, full disclosure, like I love that project because it is one of those ones that I think could win this race because they're bringing real estate on chain. They just sold a property in Hawaii fully on chain with a Bitcoin-backed collateral, Bitcoin-backed loan. And that is really crazy. That's really crazy to think. I was just also at the mayor's crypto summit in New York, and I got to interview the mayor of New York, who's very bullish on crypto. And he was saying that one of the big things that they're looking at right now is real estate. And yeah, there's just a lot going on. So Proppy's going places, in my opinion. And we've actually posted that chart in the group before and many charts of theirs. And Proppy's looking good as well. Just to refresh all you guys who just joined, feels like we were ready to wrap up the stream, but then we see all of our friends coming in, and it's like, man, we don't want to end. Let the good vibes roll. By the way, this is not vodka for you guys who have been seeing me drink. I do own a vodka brand called All Time High, but this is water. But I feel like we will need to cheers when Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, which is very close to doing, isn't it, Trip?
Yeah, definitely. So this next resistance that we need to see break, that's the previous all-time high at about 111 to 112,000. So we're getting really close. I think now we're just pulling back a little bit at this resistance, but this could just be another retest before we try to take off again. So we've already broken above this upper trend line. This is a channel if you wanted to draw it like so. We had a bit of a fake out down here, but otherwise we're still looking at this channel breakout first. So this inverse head and shoulders is kind of a secondary pattern, more of a complementary pattern to the breakout of the bigger structure that we've been watching.
Right. Yeah. Exciting times. It feels like we've been waiting for this for a long time, and it's finally here. So in tomorrow's stream, guys, we're doing every day for this week and next week just to see how we do. But for tomorrow's stream, I think we could go over the altcoin season chart, which is total 3. See how we're looking there, remind people of where we're at. And if you guys want us to do some particular charts, talk about a specific project, then let us know in the comments or DM us. And yeah, we're pretty open now. We just want you guys to get as much value as possible. So I think on that note, Trip, you got any closing remarks?
No, I think that's it for today. We just got to keep an eye on Bitcoin for now. It's going to be our leading indicator for the rest of the market, as it usually is. And also keep an eye on Bitcoin dominance to see if we have any kind of an edge coming for altcoins.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to stay on that. We're going to see when is the optimal time when alts start moving, when it starts to be altcoin season again. But man, here we are right now, right at the precipice. I feel like yesterday we were talking about buying the breakout. It's broken out. It's retesting. Let's see where we are at tomorrow. And yeah, guys, Tau. We'll do Tau another day for sure. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. If you're on your way to work, have a wonderful morning. And here in Europe, great afternoon. And Trip, thanks again for being here.
No worries. Thank you very much.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.